Hi, my dear viewers. How are you doing? Alhamdulillah, thanks God that I speak English all the time from my memory, from my mind, not from some books or in other sources. I speak English naturally from my memory. So, we have to speak English slowly. No need for speaking quickly or very fast. You have to speak slowly to be a good communicator. Maybe as a beginner of using English, when you speak English for the first time, maybe you're shy or worried or embarrassed to speak English. Maybe you feel that other people may criticize you. Or maybe other people have bad comments about you. So, you have fear of failure. And maybe you have fear of making mistakes. Believe me, you have to overcome such problems. You have to speak English whatever mistakes you make, because man learns from mistakes. Maybe any person, even the native speakers of English, perhaps they have or they make some grammar mistakes. They can use some adjectives instead of adverbs or something like this. But you have to speak English. You have to think in English, not to think about English. And for sure, there's a big difference between thinking in English and thinking about English. Thinking about English means you have to translate English to your own language. Then you translate your own language to English. This is thinking about English. And this is a very bad method of learning English. But thinking in English means to speak English naturally, automatically, without thinking. And this comes from listening to so much English. So you can speak English slowly to have good pronunciation and excellent accent. No need for speaking very quickly. And you have to have a balance between accuracy and fluency. These are two very important elements in any language: fluency and accuracy. You have to balance between these two elements. Maybe you speak very quickly and you make many pronunciation mistakes. This is not good. On the other hand, you can speak very slowly without making mistakes, but you don't speak fluently. So you have to speak fluently and accurately. You have to speak slowly. Don't be shy. Don't be worried or embarrassed when you speak English. Try to speak English all the time. When you are alone, you can stand in front of the mirror and imagine that you are talking or to another person. You have to create some situations, talk about them in English, to encourage yourself to speak in English. For example, I'd like to mention something very important. At schools, when students speak in English, some teachers interrupt them so many times, telling them that you have made some grammar mistakes. Stop, that's not good. Present simple, present perfect. You have to use have, past, plus the past participle. No. Or you used wrong preposition. That's not good. That's a very bad method of education. Why? Because students, when they speak English, They are struggling against the words, the vocabulary, the idioms, and the expressions of another language. It's not their own language. So perhaps they make mistakes. So encourage them to speak in English all the time. Don't interrupt them from time to time to correct their mistakes. That's not good. For example, in other European countries, when they learn another language, they used to have a record, and they record the students' speech without stopping them, and at the end of the lesson, they play this record and give the students the opportunity to listen to their speech to correct them later on, not occasionally from time to time, without interrupting them from time to time. That's a very bad method of teaching. We have to give our students the opportunity to express about their English, whatever mistakes they make, to encourage them to speak English. As we know, that at schools, students all the time learn with their eyes, not with their ears. How? Teachers give some exercise on the board or some tasks, written tasks, and they force the students to write down this exercise and to answer the questions on the board. And the students all the time, they are writing down some data, some information from the board, without having the opportunity to listen to so much English. So they can't speak English fluently. That's very, very bad. But we have to give our students the chance, the opportunity to speak English. We have to encourage our students to speak English all the time without interrupting them from time to time. So, believe me, I have taught English in so many schools. I was a senior teacher in ثانوية جديدة secondary school, and I have many colleagues. Believe me, some of my very few teachers, not all of them or most of them, some of them, they can explain the lesson correctly and explain grammar and grammar rules and exercises, so many tasks, homework, and so on. But believe me, they don't have the ability to speak English. They aren't a good communicator. They can't, believe me, they can't speak English 2 or 3 sentences totally, completely. But they have the ability to answer the questions and to do the exercises to grammar and to enable their students to have high grades, to have full marks. But they don't accustom their students to speak in English. This is very, very a bad problem that happen in our schools. And we have to overcome such a problem. We have to give our students the opportunity to listen more and more to English, to real authentic English, real authentic audio videos, to listen to the native speakers of English. So many teachers at schools neglect or they ignore the listening exercises. They are very important. It's very important for our students to listen to the native speakers of English. Why? To improve their English, to have super accent, and to have excellent pronunciation. It's very, very important. So, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Don't be worried. Don't worry. Don't embarrass when you speak English. Speak English slowly, naturally, without having any fears of making mistakes. All of us can make mistakes. And gradually, step by step, little by little, believe me, your English will improve tremendously. And you will speak English smoothly, easily, and quickly, without thinking. if you follow my videos, if you follow my techniques, if you follow updated techniques of teaching English, and stopping traditional methods of learning and teaching, your English will improve tremendously, and you will speak English confidently. Believe me, and you will speak English like a native. And now we come to the end of today's episode. Till we meet another time in another video with your host, Mr. Ismail Shimi. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.